Let's put out another one very quickly, because I know when you first start putting spreads out, especially 10 cards, there is a tendency to get confused and overwhelmed. Let's say someone is asking about love. We'll finally go back to our Pisces woman. And she wants to know in the next 3 months, is there someone special or a special new romance or possible long-term love coming into her life? So she shuffled, she's put the cards down, she's cut them, and she's put them back together. And she's sitting there very, very nervous. Because of course she wants to hear the answer is yes. So we'll see what comes up for her. Okay, first thing, remember, when I say I don't read cards reversed, but I notice when they come up reversed. So the Two of Cups, right away, that's most definitely a card about possible commitment between two people coming together. So even though it came up reversed, I still feel like there's a good chance of that for her, but I'm going to put out all the cards. I'm going to do a very quickie reading here, so you're going to feel like I'm really rushing through it. But I talk very fast when I do readings because oftentimes the information that I get comes very, very quickly, and I almost have to talk fast to get it out before I forget it. Remember the zip file analogy. Okay, I'm getting that, yes, you know, the basis of the situation is that this lady does want a relationship, and I think very badly, but because this card came up reversed, you know, even though I felt like it was a good beginning, looking at the rest of the cards, I just don't think it's going to happen within that time period. Now, I notice there are 3 swords, 4 swords out here, so remember, swords have to do with intellect, and I'm almost thinking like this person may be thinking about it too much. They may be dwelling on it. They may be holding on to, I've got to get a relationship right away. And that could actually stand in the way of them bringing in someone new. You know, when they say to us, let go of something and then it'll come to you, that's almost one of the things that I would need to tell her during this reading is, I know this is important to you. It is a very important thing in our lives to have love, but you don't want the wrong person to come in. And you don't want to accept just the first person who comes along. So right away I see that that's not going to happen in the next 3 months, that person coming in. In fact, there may not be anyone of consequence who comes in, but I'll look and with the 5, what's crossing the situation is that there may have been a relationship that my client just came out of, and maybe she was left or abandoned, you know, that fear of abandonment. And that she may be feeling like, I've got to get someone right away to make me feel better. Well, we all know that usually doesn't work. It's called the rebound. And so I would assure my client, you know, it's very difficult, yes, to go through a breakup. It's very difficult when the person you cared about walked off and maybe took up with someone else, you know, but there is a much brighter future in that right person for you. Just believe in that. And at the root of the situation, with the star being there, I feel as though that really does solidify my feeling like, yeah, there's a great relationship coming. I'm not sure exactly when, but with the star here, it looks as though heaven is looking over my client and will be bringing that person in. A very, very high relationship, maybe a good astrological fit. You know, maybe it's a Pisces and a Scorpio, 2 water signs, or a Pisces and a Taurus. Water and earth go together real well. And, you know, she just needs to know that although the answer may not be what she was hoping for in this reading, you know, it may not be too far down the road that she has that right relationship come in. In the past, it looks like there was a lot of mental activity going on around the question, and that she, with the Ace of Swords, she may have really, really just, you know, set out very, very determined, okay, so this person hurt me, and so I'm going to find someone else once again to try and heal the pain a little bit. And I'm going to be successful. I'm going to show him. I'm going to put ads, you know, in the newspapers, in the single columns, or I'm going to get on Facebook, or I'm going to get on Match.com. You know, I'm going to do some things. I'm going to write out my profile, and I'm really going to put a lot of thought to this, you know, make myself look really, really good. Okay, we have the scary card of death up above in the possible radar screen or on the scope, something that's going to happen. What this says to me is that the client is going to go through a major transformation, so that they may have come in today wanting that relationship like tomorrow or this Saturday night, meeting the one, but they're going to change how they feel about that. And if it's a person that always feels like they have to have a relationship and they can't live without them, this change, and we don't know how it's going to come about, but this change could indicate that, you know, she all of a sudden realizes the folly of this thinking, that, you know, she's just fine without someone right now. She really, you know, it would be good to just, you know, play and have a good time with girlfriends or guy friends, and go to football games and really not have the worry of I've got to have a relationship. But most definitely there is some kind of a transformation taking place coming up in the near future with my client. In front of my client, I feel like something is being stolen from her, and so I feel like that could be her energy and her emotions from the last relationship. This gentleman could call her again, could try and see her, maybe not for the highest of reasons, you know, might try and take something away from her self-esteem, how she thinks. Could even be an ex-husband coming back and saying, you know, you weren't a good person, you know, so I'm going to get from you what I can, and you know, leaving my client feeling flatter than a pancake. But I will tell my client, be very wary of anyone coming into your life right now that seems to be offering either gifts or, you know, extends something to you that's too good to be true. You know, it doesn't mean that good things aren't coming in, but it just means to be very, very cautious that you don't allow others, and this could even be the friends of the ex, you know, coming around and snooping around for information that they're going to use against my client. You know, just be very careful about how you think and what you say. And if your thinking is along a very, very low track right now, of course it takes time to recover from a lost relationship, especially if it was one that went on for a long time. But don't let others take from you what's yours. You know, keep your power. That's what I would be saying in terms of this card. Okay. And I'll talk about the page in this card when I get to the page. The Knight of Wands. I might even ask my client, have you been thinking about a move, or because you're so discouraged, you're just going to get up and move? Because remember, the Knight of Wands is a move card. Or, you know, they might be thinking or feeling compelled to move, or they might be feeling, you know, they have to take impulsive action. So it could be one of those two things. There could be other things that come up intuitively, you know, if someone else were doing this reading for the client. But most definitely, there are feelings of doing something drastic or doing something very quickly that might not turn out okay. But here we have, okay, the client's got some good friends, good family members that really feel like, you know, she may be better off without this guy or gal, which, you know, you have to be careful. You don't know about relationships for sure until you ask, unless you're told. And the Wheel of Fortune, okay, it was down, but it's going to go up because this card came upright, and I feel like there's another opportunity coming. I really, really feel like that. You know, this is telling me that, okay, this situation is going to be like receding into the background, and it's not going to be that upsetting or important here in the next 3 to 6 months, and that there could be someone new coming in, but most definitely there is something wonderful coming up on the horizon that's very, very good for the client. And it could be a new relationship, or it could be something just as wonderful for right now that is going to greatly enhance their life. But with the High Priestess, okay, the High Priestess in number 9, hopes and wishes, or hopes and fears. The fear could be that the client wasn't told the whole truth about this thing. The fear could be that the guy left and said, I'm just not ready for a relationship right now, and so I'm sorry. But the fear might be there was another woman who stepped in, and I just have an icky feeling about that. He didn't tell me the truth, and so therefore I am, you know, really upset about that possibility. And we all know how we have these conversations in our head, and we can take an imaginary scenario and run with it to the nth degree. Or that the High Priestess here means that my client really is hoping that they'll intuitively make the right choice the next time. That, you know, using the gifts of the High Priestess, you know, they can look into their own crystal ball. They might even get their own feelings about when and who's coming in the next time around. There's a lot of different meanings for that. Remember, the High Priestess is the card of the intuitive, but also hidden things. So you have to get the feeling of what that card means to you if you were doing the reading. And then finally, we have the Page of Swords as the outcome. Another court card is the outcome. And what that says to me, and I'll just make up a scenario, but one that I've seen oftentimes. When you look at this card and this card, there may be a gentleman coming in. And he's a smooth talker. He's a good talker. He tells her everything she wants to hear right out the gate. He may appear very, very smart, and he may appear to dazzle her with his rhetoric, so to speak. But because he's coming up as a page, that's a very immature person. So underneath all the glitz, because this card is a page, that's telling me this, you know, you may meet somebody, you may like them initially, but of course use caution if you continue on, because I'm feeling like there may be a stepping stone, either dating situation or relationship, that's going to be very short term, very short lived, and not to put too much into it, because you don't need an added disappointment or an upset added to what's going on with you right now. And I feel like this person might mislead you, and might even, you know, either try and borrow money from you or move in with you, or, you know, something may be stolen from my client. And so they really, really, really have to be very careful about who comes in. You know, what is that person really like, and not get carried away and think they're off on another great romance. That, you know, I just don't feel like, you know, Mr. Right is in the next 3 months. Maybe Mr. Right now, or maybe Mr. this week, but that's all I'm getting here. So let's get to the answer of the question is, when is my long-term relationship coming? Now, most people have the opportunities to have long-term relationships, but sometimes we go through, excuse me, I dropped a card. We go through several people. It's sad, but that's what happens. We go through several people, and it's very hard lessons for a lot of us when we have to go through 1, 2, 3 big heartbreaks in our lives. And so sometimes that right person doesn't come in till late in life. But let's say my client is 30, 31, and she's ready. She's never been married, never had children, and she's really ready. So I'm asking, she's asking, we're focusing on timing. Now, my timing cards, you know, usually cover up to 1 year, but I'm going to see if I can't get a feeling for my phantom client when that's going to be. And I'm just going to put down some cards and see what comes up. Now, this isn't any particular spread. This is what I do sometimes Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Not only when, but who. I might say to my client, first thing I see is that, you need to stop attracting the wrong person. With the Devil card here and the Three of Swords, we know is a breakup card or divorce card, or lots of real mental anguish. But it looks as though because of what's happened, or maybe because you're attracting the wrong person for you over and over again, you need to take a look at that and then see what kind of person it is. Sit down and write what kind of person you feel might be good for you. One thing good about having several relationships is you find out what you don't want. And this is what I would say. Yeah, you're going to be working on this, You're going to be working on your health issues. You're going to be working on your business or your career issues. You're going to be taking a look at the patterns of the type of men that you've, brought into your life, because the men that you've brought into your life may have caused you to feel out of balance, less than, and they're not looking for your highest and best good. And so with the Judgment on this first line, I'm saying there's going to be a wake-up call. This is your wake-up call. You most definitely have a wake-up call about, the pattern of keep attracting the wrong person or the incorrect compatibility energy for you. And when we get down to the next line, I'm seeing there's a couple pentacles, there's the Sun in the middle, and I'm seeing the Seven of Cups here. There are a lot of cups out here, and I'm getting that, my client is going to school, so to speak, and she might on her own decide to date a couple different people before even, it's an experiment, before even committing to somebody for, more than 4 dates. She's just going to shop around, so to speak. She's learning. She's learning to be grounded and to take care of herself with the Page here. And she might read some good books on the subject, how to attract the right person, or learn astrology, or get involved in some different groups that help her do that. She's got the Sun in the middle, so I'm feeling like, okay, the answer is yes, that long-term person is coming in. We'll get to the final timing in a moment. And when they do come in, they're going to be a complete surprise. There's that new person showing up, Page of Cups. This is not saying that the person is immature because they're a page, because I have a mature man out here, the King of Cups. And so I'm looking at that. He's going to come in when you least expect it. Definitely a new romance. The man is artsy, or could be in the field of therapy or psychotherapy, or something to do with the arts in any way, shape, or form. He could work on water. He could be a oceanographer, anything to do with water. Remember, the King of Cups, that's ruled by water, and that when the King of Cups comes, she's going to be forced to take a look at herself and look at her past decisions and see what's real and what isn't. So when this King of Cups comes along, there may be, once again, a time of caution, a time of reflection, and is this what I really want? Am I making the right decision? So she's decided to give it a lot of time, even after he does come on the scene. But I'm seeing that the man coming in for her is a water sign type, very sensitive, very intuitive himself, but very thoughtful and very caring. I get a Cancer sun sign for some reason. So Cancer sun sign men are a little more stable than the Scorpio or the Pisces men. They're what's called a cardinal sign, and they really, really are into building a strong foundation, keeping jobs, having money. So, it may be a very good fit for her, and that, she really, really is having that special relationship come in. What's the timing on it? I'm still not getting a definitive timing card, But what really stands out to me is number 19 in the Sun, number 20 in the Judgment card. She's young, so I'm definitely not going to assume that's 19 or 20 years. That would make somebody faint dead away in a reading. But I'm saying within, and I don't say no, it's 19 months out to the day. No, no. What you want to say, it's within 19 to 22 months. That could be the window, 19 to 22. He's going to come into your life. But what I would suggest that you do is not wait for that day to arrive and sit down in your best dress, in your living room looking gorgeous and thinking he's going to knock on the door. You definitely have to be getting on with your life and living it in a very, very full way, and not be looking for him under every blade of grass, but just let it happen, because very often it's the surprises that turn out to be our best mates, and that the universe has stepped in and brought in that possible, I'm not going to say for sure, possible right person. And it does feel like it could be a marriage. I just get a feeling with the King of Cups, this is a marriage partnership. With this particular card, I get the feeling like this man is very able to commit. He is free to commit. I don't see any other woman out here, even though on the Nine of Pentacles there's a woman. I don't really feel, a woman is represented here, but he's free to marry, and that he's able to marry. So that's just an example of two readings. The second one, remember, I just put some cards down just to get an idea of maybe who would come in and the timing. There are other ways to do it, but this is just what I was led to do intuitively. So what I really want you to focus on is learning the 10 card Celtic Cross spread.